Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for being here, but I also would like to thank our fans that have made the trip over to USC and appreciate them. We're still in our second time that we're going to do the Devil Walk this week, and I appreciate the fans being out there the first time. Would love to get that going. And we're all Arizona fans. I know it's going to be hot, but that's why we live in Arizona, and I appreciate the fans being out there as well. But I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Start with Michelle up front.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic.
Hey, Michelle.
Coach, you've talked about, we saw extra running last week, running from one drill to another. We saw you kick a player out of practice for showing up late. Can you kind of talk about what you're trying to instill in the discipline and what the message you're trying to send to your players?
Absolutely. You know, the accountability, the discipline part where we don't make those mistakes in the game. And so if it's done on a daily basis, I think they'll be accountable during the game. They understand where I'm coming from. The running from drill to drill it's the up tempo that I want to bring to the offense and the defense, and the type of up tempo scheme that I want to have emphasized. But you know, it's doing everything right. The fundamentals, the accountability, the discipline that will make us competitive in these games and overall win these games.
Have you gotten any blowback from players that maybe aren't used to all the extra work and that they're not used to that sense of
Absolutely. You know, some of the kids are, Coach, you're tripping, in a good way. And I said, absolutely, and I'll be relentless as well. But they get where I'm trying to get, and it's a process with them. And we talk about the process every day and about the stacking every day. And I want to make sure that they understand there is a point in the season that I want to be at. And it'll take some time. And so, again, we are going on our 9th practice, and we're stacking those days. But it is a process that I want to instill and build with this team. And I think everybody has bought in, or mostly everybody. The one that was late and the guys that are late to a meeting or a lift, I'll be relentless in holding them accountable.
Hey, Shaun.
Hey, Chris.
Chris Carbon, son of a source. When you watched the game back, were there any additional things that you learned or that you thought that maybe were a little bit different than watching it live?
The more and more I watch it, the more and more I get disappointed in it, not because of the effort that they brought. I thought they played real well, but the details and the finish on some of the plays, especially wrapping up on plays that I thought were third down situations that we could have got out of that, and our offense was rolling. So just the little things I get disappointed, because I truly believe, and I told the kids that we were in that game to win that game. And so when the mistakes happen, there's always going to be mistakes in the games. How do we learn about them? How do we learn from it? And so the kids are in here on their own, taking initiative and watching film and doing those. They get, and the closer that game got, the more that I saw the passion and the willingness to win and go for it. When it got away a little bit, I enjoyed watching them step up to it. You know, when we got the onside kick, I saw the enthusiasm because they all thought we were right in that game.
Comparing that to your first game, did you feel like the execution or assignment soundness made a clear step forward?
Absolutely, and you know, that whole week of that cultural change was hard for the kids. Now they understand, and I put a lot on my coaches in yesterday's meeting. We have to step up and make sure that the kids understand the detail and deliberation that I want. They understand, and I'll hold our coaches accountable too. But that deliberation that we talk about in a coaching meeting has to transform into our kids and translate on the field. And so they understand the seriousness about it, and we're all on the same page. And I just told them, you got to understand, I'm going to be relentless with the coaches as well to make sure that our kids are put in a successful place.
Hey, Shaun, Cole Bradley, Sun Devil Source. You're transitioning, obviously, to Washington, a team that's done a really good job, you know, moving the ball offensively, particularly through the air. After a game against, you know, USC where you guys had some struggles getting off the field, particularly on third down, how much of an emphasis do you think it is going up against a team that is, you know, pretty dynamic as well and improving in that area?
Absolutely, and it's an emphasis we had last week. It'll be more of an emphasis this week because they were 8 for 9 on third down. That's 89% of it. We need to change that. And a couple of times we had them in the midst and just didn't finish it. And so we need to make sure we get off the field and put the offense on the field. The offense is playing with confidence. I think Emery has finally figured out how to play with his team, that he doesn't have to make the brilliant plays, just make the plays and get the playmakers the ball in their hands, and we'll be okay. I love the physicality with our offensive line and the interior line on the defense, but going back to the emphasis, third downs on both sides will be an emphasis from here on out.
Jake Seymour,
How you doing,
Cronkite
Jake?
Sports. Coach, you kind of mentioned post-game about those struggling to establish the box in the backfield and the edge as well. After watching the film, how much of that came down to execution versus USC just making some good plays and flushing out?
You know, I think it was a lot to do with the execution. Our main focus was the containment of the quarterback. If we looked at it, there were 2 times that he slipped outside of our containment. Most of the time was the inside of our containment. So that comes down to 2 things. Our guys are too far up the field where they can't retrace, and we're going to make sure that we work on that. We're facing a similar opponent this week in the quarterback, who is a transfer as well, but athletic as well. So the game plan is going to be the same. We just got to finish plays and make sure that our guys understand what they are trying to do to us, and then just going out and putting their hand in the ground, and when the ball's hiked, go for it. But we need to be smart on our attack and our schematics as well.
Coach, how close are Omar and Garen Stansberry? I noticed Garen actually practiced some last week, which he hadn't. So how close are they to being available?
They're very close. Again, they're day-to-day. However, I was very pleased with their running yesterday. And so they're running close to full speed. And so hopefully I'll get a prognosis after today's treatment, and then we'll see tomorrow if they're going to be on the field. I don't want to push them so much that they go backwards, but I think that we're getting very close, and we need them.
Jordan Hamm, Sports
Hey,
360
Jordan.
AZ. Coach, when you look at Washington's defense, what sort of challenges do they present for your offense that's starting to hit its stride?
You know, they're fundamentally sound, so we're going to have to bring the attack to them. They do a good job running to the football. They do a pretty good job in open field tackling. We need to make sure that from our perimeter standpoint, we need to stay on blocks, keeping our hands inside, all the fundamental things and the extra effort things that are needed to keep our offense on the field. But they are a very fundamentally sound football team. They're athletic and talented as well, but we want to make sure that we impose our will on them, and that's the emphasis that I want to make sure that we bring to the offensive side.
Yeah, Coach, Kailin DeBoer, they're quite a bit different team now at Washington than they were, and you're familiar with him from Fresno State, obviously.
Yes.
So what have you thought about kind of the job that he's doing there and how the team looks overall?
Kailin is doing a great job. I know a lot of that staff. I've known Kailin since he was at Southern Illinois Salukis when he recruited Chandler. So he has moved up the ranks. Very honored to know him because he's a great coach. He's done an incredible job in the last 5 games to bring their identity. We're going to have to play mistake-free, error-free football to be in this game. Our kids understand what needs to be done, but we're going to have to stop the quarterback. They had a transfer running back as well. We're going to have to make sure that we contain him and then not give up the big plays. I think this quarterback loves to go vertical more than anybody else, and so we have to make sure that we do not give up those big plays.
And Coach, I know
Hey,
you
Mike.
were talking about finishing plays and obviously making big plays, but offensively, the way you guys came out against USC is kind of going back and forth with them. What was your, overall thoughts on how the offense just came out to the game and their energy?
The offense did well. They executed well, and that's the big part of it. You know, every team has schematics. Every coach has their own schematics. How well do you execute? I wanted to make sure that there was urgency. I wanted to make sure that we were in schematically making sure that we were successful early with Emory Jones' decisions. That was big for me. Making sure that he has confidence. And, you know, he was a little beat up last week, and so I wanted to make sure that he got rid of the ball early enough so that he didn't have to extend those plays early, because I knew he was hurting a little bit. But let the team do the job. Let X and Daniel and the receivers do the job. But I thought he did well. I thought Coach Thomas did a great job preparing that team, and it came out and showed. Now we get into the third quarter, we need to make sure we talk about the finish. We have to be proficient and efficient in the third quarter to finish those games, because we had a chance to take a lead right at that series.
And then, yeah, to follow up on that too, the how they rebounded from the penalty, because I know it led, obviously it would have been first and goal, but Emory got the first and goal. That's a holding penalty. It leads to a field goal. But how did you feel that the offense's kind of attitude coming off the field was after that, just to stay in a positive frame of mind?
In my life, I've used, and Coach Thomas has used it, but it was different words. It's the what's next mentality. No matter what happens, what's next? And I never look back. I'm trying to instill that mentality with our kids. If there's a penalty, if something goes wrong, there's a lot of things that are going wrong in the game. We move on to the next play. What's next for us to be successful in? And so there was a holding. Okay, let's go get that first down. If not, we'll kick the field goal. We're just fine. What's next in everything that we do? We can only control what happens in the future, not what's in the end. And so I want to instill to these kids that what's next mentality in everything that they do.
Shaun, when it comes to just how much the play calling seemingly evolved against USC, I mean, looked like a completely different offense, particularly in the first half. When it comes to Glenn's play calling, I mean, how much do you feel like you can build off of that moving forward, and how important is it to have a performance like that, especially against a top 10 team in the country?
I have confidence in Glenn. There's little tidbits that I'll let him know. You understand that what my philosophy is I'm going to be aggressive. There's no matter what. And so match my philosophy. Whatever you do from an expertise level that you feel comfortable our kids can do, you have to understand, you have to match my philosophy, because I'm not a guy that will sit back and wait. If that happens, then I'm not going to be real happy. So match my philosophy, do what you do, and he got the kids to respond. And so that's the mentality with all of our coaches, is to make sure that they understand my vision and the aggressiveness I want to bring to this team and the fun I want to bring to this team. And so that'll be matched on the defense as well.
Hey, Coach. No Furtado, son of Source.
You know.
The offensive line was pretty good throughout the first half.
Yes.
There was a change in effectiveness in the second half, giving up 5 sacks to USC. That defensive front, how much they did coming into that game, the different stunts and things of that nature may have been a concern. What were your takeaways from sort of the turning point, or some of the changes that you saw that led to some of those sacks?
We started to play from behind later in the game. And so, again, like I thought in the Utah game, they understand we are in passing situations, so they're going to pin their ears back and come. I thought from a mentality standpoint, I liked our kids' mentality, but some of those plays dictates those guys bringing more pressure than usual because of the type of play or the type of scheme we have to go into when we're from behind. But the first 2 drives in that second half, I was not satisfied with, because one was 6 and out, and then the other one was 3 and out. We got into situations where we were not ahead of the chains, everything that we've talked about. And so it's a learning process for our guys to understand when we come out of that locker room, it's a new half that we have to win. I defer on purpose. I defer the ball on purpose because I want to make sure that our offense gets the ball to set another standard in the second half and to come out and attack. And we didn't take advantage of that, especially when we needed to attack and take the lead. Now USC will be playing from behind, and then our whole game. And we had that ability to do that, and we didn't take care of that opportunity.
I wanted to ask about the first half, because obviously this was probably the best first half you've played all season. Did you guys do anything different, or was it a matter of just the play calling, or what led to the success in the first half last week that we hadn't seen up to that point?
I think was the emphasis on the execution and doing your job. And then the excitement that the kids brought, I thought was tremendous. Hopefully you don't lose that excitement and focus going into the second half, because they're in a situation where we're in a dogfight now with one of the best teams in the country. And you got to understand that you earn the right to be here. Now, how do we go about finishing? And that's the process we talk about, from the accountability, all those little things. How do we get over that hump to finish the games? And so that's the process that I'm trying to build within our kids, to understand that now it's the finish part. everything from running from drill to drill, finishing on routes, finishing on how do we go about finishing in the game. I think they understand that, and I think you'll see better effort in practice, and in the practice has been good. But I think you'll see better effort this week just because they understand what we're trying to do.
Last question, Jordan.
Coach, not sure if you were watching Sunday Night Football last night, but just wanted to get your reaction to Rashad White's first career NFL touchdown.
Love it. I love it. And, you know, when he jumped and got in, just seeing those kids have fun is my gratification, and you know, doing well at the next level. And then Eno, what the heck is he doing kicking the football? But you know, he's a talented, diversified kid. Oh geez, you know, but those kids are having fun, and just sitting there watching it, I love just watching them play. And again, this is a game. This football is just a game. It should be played fun. And so, just seeing that, I was super proud of them. I know.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Absolutely, yeah. Jack Jones pick 6 too as well.
Did you know Eno could kick?
I didn't know that. I said, well, you know what? He was a soccer player, though. I knew that.
That's true.
Prior to then. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it.